Today, I want to give you 3 key things that you can look at when you get orders sent to you on DoorDash that's really going to indicate to you whether or not there is a hidden tip in it or not. My name is John McFall, and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel, where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery. In today's video, I want to talk to you about a few things that you can look at. There are some things that DoorDash has absolutely no control over when it comes to the information that they send us and what will tell us if there are higher tips on an order that they send you or not. So today I'm going to break down a few different things that you can look at that will help you determine whether or not those orders that you get sent to you will include a higher tip or not. If you enjoy this video and you like this content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can continue to get the content that I throw out there. We hear a lot of people out here that are talking about the hidden tips on DoorDash and whether or not it is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. And today, I don't really want to get into whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether DoorDash should do it, whether they shouldn't do it. This is just where we are when it comes to the DoorDash platform. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, to me, it doesn't really matter if DoorDash hides tips or not. It is what it is. It's the way that they do it, and it's what we have to work with. So just like many other things when it comes to food delivery, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to whether or not they send me tip information and give me the complete payout or not. When I'm out here doing food delivery and getting my grind on, I just grab the orders that they send to me that look like they are going to take care of that dollars to time, the dollars to mile, and the dollars to order. And if I get a higher payout at the end of it, I'm okay with it. So the first key thing that you need to look at when it comes to the orders on DoorDash is what restaurant is it coming from? When you think about it, when people go out to restaurants physically and they go to get food, if they go to a place like McDonald's, if they go to a place like Taco Bell or any other fast food restaurant, they're not expecting to pay a whole lot of money to begin with. These types of restaurants are for convenience mostly and for the lowest cost that a customer can get it. And this is what the purpose of fast food restaurants are. When you get into mid-level and higher end restaurants, people typically expect to pay a little bit more because they get higher quality food. They have a better environment than a fast food restaurant, and the cost of the food that they get when they go to a mid-level to upper level restaurant is obviously going to be higher. When they go to, let's say Taco Bell compared to a Chipotle, or they go to, their local Chinese restaurant compared to, a P.F. Chang's, they expect to pay different amounts dependent on what type of restaurant it is. So the first thing you need to take into consideration when you get an order sent to you from DoorDash is what restaurant is it picking up from? Is it a low-end restaurant like a fast food joint, or is it a mid-level, like a Chipotle or a Panera Bread or something to that effect? Or is it a high-end restaurant like Ruth Chris, or maybe a local high-end establishment in your marketplace? These are really important factors when it comes to whether or not a customer expects to pay a high tip or not. The second thing that you really need to take a look at is what is the item count on the order. If it is a very high item count, this is a good indicator that the customer is paying more money for that order, so they could expect to pay a higher tip on it. And again, this goes back to what my first point was. If they get a, let's say a 20 item order from Taco Bell or from Wendy's or something like that, a lot of times this higher quantity order is going to be chock full of sauce packets or other condiments when they place their order. So you know that a 20 item order from Taco Bell is probably going to be 5 actual food items and then 15 packets of sauce. So you've got to really take a look at what the item count is, but you also have to understand when they get those items from those restaurants, what are the actual items that they're getting. If they get a 20 item order from Chipotle or Panera Bread, I'll use them as an example again, this typically is going to mean that they're paying a high bill at this restaurant. So likely, since it's a high bill, they're going to be expected to pay a little bit better in tips. So you've got to really take a look at not only the item count, but you also have to take a look at what those items are going to be in the overall cost of the order for those items at the restaurant. If it's a mid-level or a high-level restaurant and it's a high item count, there's a greater chance that they're expecting to pay higher dollars overall, so you can expect that there's likely going to be a higher tip with that kind of place and that kind of order and that order quantity. The third and the final thing I want to talk to you about is the actual miles that you're driving. And this kind of goes together with the amount of money that they're offering you up front. Obviously, if they send you, let's say, a $7 or an $8 offer that's going, let's say 2 or 3 miles, you're likely not going to get more than that because that is a decent payout for that amount of miles. If you get an order, let's say that it's, $10 and it's going 12 miles, there's a good likelihood, a good chance that they're actually going to pay you a higher dollar amount because of the amount of miles that it is. Again, you have to take into consideration the restaurant that you're picking up from. If you get a $10 order that's going 12 miles from McDonald's or Taco Bell, a fast food place, you're likely not going to see a higher dollar amount than what they initially offered you. But if it's a mid-level to a high-level restaurant that they offer you, and let's say it's $10 for 12 miles from one of those types of restaurants, it's a very good likelihood that once you complete that order that it's actually going to be higher because of all the factors involved. So you've really got to take a look at the miles and see what those miles are to the dollars that they're sending you, and maybe there's a higher dollar amount that you're going to get at the end of it because of this. There are myths out there. I've heard a lot of people talk about, if it ends in 25 cents or if it ends in 50 cents, if it's $6.25 or $6.50 or if it's $8.50. I don't know if this is the case in every marketplace, and I don't know if this is a true statement that those actual, what they put in the actual dollar amount makes a difference on whether you're going to get a higher tip or not. But these are a few things that are key things that you need to look at when it comes to these orders on DoorDash, on whether or not it is going to pay you a higher dollar amount or not. So DoorDash can only control certain things when it comes to the orders that they get and when it comes to the information that they give you. There's things that you can look at on the platform that is going to help you decide on whether or not you're going to get a higher tip or not. A lot of people want to look at only the dollar amount and the miles and make their decision on whether they're picking that order or not just based solely on those two things, and this is not the right approach. There is so much more information that you can get from the information that they actually do give you that's going to really give you some key indicators on whether or not you're going to get a higher tip or not. So make sure you always take a look at what restaurant it is that the order is coming from. Also take a look at what the item count is, and also take into consideration what restaurant it is when they show you that item count, and also take a look at the overall miles based on what restaurant that is picking up from. And this is really going to help you determine on whether or not that might be a higher pay order or not at the end of it. So take these things that I gave you, play around with them when you're out here doing your DoorDash stuff, and see if you can help yourself get higher paying orders based on the things that I've talked about. Also would like to remind you that down here in my description I have some great tools for you. The one I want to talk to you about today is my metric spreadsheet. If you want to know how well you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery, it starts by keeping track of your metrics. If you want to apply these things I talked about in the videos to see if life, it improves. Start keeping track of these numbers, and I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can check it out. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles. If you look to the right, for each individual app, I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Head to the bottom and you'll see it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, and your average per order. To get better at doing food delivery, it starts by knowing where you currently are. And this metric spreadsheet is something that can help show you that. Head down into my description and go grab a free copy of it for yourself if you'd like to start seeing where you are and seeing where you need to improve. I'd also like to ask you to like this video and to subscribe to my channel. Finally, I want to say I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks